I chose to interview this individual because his career goals line up well with my own. I participated in a program called Jewish Changemakers this past summer, which was an online leadership development program that had different webinars that taught you how to create positive change. And through that, I was able to use Jewish values and learn about Zionism, anti Semitism, along with a lot of other topics. But throughout this program, there was many accomplished individuals, and one that really stood out to me was Adam Sokloff. So when I heard that we had to interview someone for this assignment, I immediately thought of him because his interests aligned very well with my own, since he is involved in nonprofit and marketing, which are two strong interests and passions of mine. So I figured if I had the chance to interview someone, I would give that chance to him. And what I noticed during our interview is that he was sitting in a decorated office with many books lining the shelves, which showed me that he was a very well-read individual, and that's something that stood out to me because I enjoy reading as well. He also seemed very comfortable in his home office and looked very at home, and I could tell that he possessed different traits, including self-confidence by the way that he was carrying himself, the way that he stood in the chair. I could tell he was very sociable and extroverted by the smile that he had on his face and how welcoming he looked on the video call that I had with him during the interview. And I also could tell that he had servant leadership because of his involvement in the Jewish Changemakers program. He volunteered his time and was motivated to take time out of his workday and his family and social life to commit to teaching students and giving them the opportunity to learn and grow, which shows servant leadership because he has these caring principles where he focuses on growing others' knowledge and their caring principles as well. And so when I interviewed him, he talked a lot about the values that are needed to lead others and how values are very important to him. So that definitely stuck out to me. That was a key leadership characteristic that he discussed. So this specific statement resonated with me because I'm a big values person, and I use values to guide my everyday life and almost every decision that I make. So using values to communicate is super important to me, and it's a way that I choose to lead, and I could tell that's how he leads as well, since he was very focused on his values and mentioning that in our interview. He also used the skills model, since that includes the social judgment skills, which is included in the values. So you use values to communicate, which shows that he has the social judgment skills under the skills model. He also discussed his career experience, which also falls under the skills model, because he was telling me about the different positions that he had through nonprofit and marketing. He also explained that he focused a lot on relationship behavior when he was leading groups. So he would focus on making people feel very comfortable in their environment and feel very welcome. So from what I could tell, it seemed that he used team management as the kind of leadership, which combines both task and relationships with a balance between the two. So for my perception of the individual as a leader after the interview is that he is a very emotionally intelligent individual that uses servant leadership. He told me to focus on myself and consider what type of values bring an emotional response for me and what I'm passionate about, and to focus on that. By asking me this, it showed me that he is very emotionally intelligent, because he's telling me that this is what he did himself and recommending that I focus on my values and my emotions as well, which is important in emotional intelligence. He discussed how passionate he was and how socially aware people need to be, which showed me that he's uses servant leadership as well. I could also tell that he is an excellent communicator by the way that he was telling different stories to me. He would go and tell different stories about his past in the marketing field and how sometimes it doesn't always work out as planned, but things always come through, and to trust the process, and different stories that made me feel very encouraged. So I could tell he uses authentic communication in that way, and leading others and teaching others to lead as well. So some key statements that he made when we had our interview were that the world needs people with big dreams and ambitions to lead society and create innovation. He also told me to carve out 30 minutes of worries. Think about what keeps you grounded and what you're grateful for. That way you can stay focused on positive change and be a better leader. Try to have a focused pitch for yourself. So if I'm going out to the workplace and need to pitch myself, and to be a good leader, you have to know what you value and how you stand and where you stand and who you are as a person, that you can pitch yourself to your followers as well. And he lastly said, what else do you have to live for? What is your top priority? So some of these questions really made me think about my own leadership and made me dwell on my leadership styles, and gave me a good look at myself as well as his leadership styles too. And it was a very informational interview that I had with Adam Sokoloff.